Hey guys, it's Celia Red here, and this time we're talking about the American Tier 10 light tank XM551 Sheridan. Sheridan is the logical extension of T-49, and it was supposed to be an amphibious tank. That's why it has these square pants. It looks like T-49 was dressed into this square something. So let's start as usual with the view range and camo. 420 meters base view range, really cool. That is compensated by disastrous for light tank camo of around 30%. Worst camo of all LT10. It's really very little if you have to fight against tier 9 and 10 lights. So even though you have super view range, the camo is too bad to do active scouting. Add to that terrifically huge size and get a very bad active scout comparing to all other LT10, even to Panzerwagen, which is at least quick, but we'll talk about it later. So, we can still do scouting using ridge lines, peeking out a little, spotting everyone around with our great view range and hiding back. So we can do active scouting, but really episodically. As a scout, it's clearly weak. Let's talk about the dress of this tank for a little. It's a completely paper armor, but the thing is that this whole square thing is not the hull itself, but a very thin screen on top of it. So basically, high explosives never give you full damage if they hit your box. Also, the gun mantlet is a pretty large screen. Yeah, so yet another screen, but on the turret. So basically, this tank doesn't really get penetrated by high explosives. And more than that, for some magic reason, I don't know why, but sometimes this whole paper construction saves your ass. I even had to bounce from Borzig and T-30 in one battle. Of course, you can never count on it, but it's always a nice surprise when this happens. And that shelf in front of it doesn't really help you because it doesn't exist in the armor model, so it won't stop any heat rounds. Okay, let's move on to the mobility. I kinda try to separate things like view range, camo, mobility, size, but it's hard because they all work together, so it's not entirely right to call a tank so-so scout before looking into mobility. But the mobility doesn't fix the situation, it's still a bad scout. It's 40 horses per ton, sounds good, but the max speed is only 65, and I don't feel any outstanding acceleration. Ground resistance is pretty average, but feels like it's worse. I wouldn't call this light mobile, and in combination with poor view range camo balance, yes, we get a pretty weak scout. Okay, doesn't sound too good so far, and next comes the gun, or guns in this case, since both T-49 and Sheridan have now Derp gun and normal, regular gun, and you can play with any. The Derp gun has slightly improved stats comparing to T-49, I didn't really feel any difference. I believe that it's better, but for me the only obvious point of improvement from T-49 was the reload time. Apart from that, same old good derp with terrible turret reverse dispersion, but good acceleration and halt reverse dispersion. Don't forget about this feature of the derp gun if you choose to use it. The other gun of Sheridan has standard for LT10 360 alpha, 236 main APCR penetration, good aiming time, okay gun handling, but for me it felt like not enough somewhy. And it also has great DPM. Best DPM among all LT10. And that is supposed to be the thing that compensates its disastrous scouting capabilities. But its DPM is not that greater than of some other lights. You know, half a second to second quicker reload. Do you even care if your reload is 8 or 7 seconds? Personally, I don't. Of course, it's always better to have quicker reload, but if I have 8 instead of 7, like on some other LT10, I don't see any problem from practical point of view. Numbers on numbers, Sheridan does have best DPM, but will you feel it that much in practice? I doubt that. I didn't actually feel that this gun pours in millions of damage, while in other lights I would have dealt only 1000. No, I didn't feel any advantage at all. I've heard very controversial opinions about this tank from players which I respect, which are great LT players. Some share my opinion that it's not really good, others say it's great, so if I were you, I wouldn't risk getting this light tank as your first LT10. And this tank shares last place in terms of total damage with Panzerwagen in my stats. I try really hard, Well, I play with a regular gun. I played also a few battles with the Derp gun, but it's just T49, no real difference, as I said before. So I was trying to master the regular gun, and looks like I couldn't really succeed. Probably I do something wrong in it. Dealing damage with the regular gun turned out to be not as easy for me, and I tried all possible combinations of equipment. I tried to play with optics, without optics, with rammer, without rammer, with lane drive, without lane drive, and so on. And I stopped at classical optics rammer stabilizer for the regular gun, and for the Derp gun I would recommend optics stabilizer gun lane drive. Remember that being effective with the Derp gun is not easy. You may opt for regular gun for more stable results. But personally, I feel okay with the Derp gun. I know that I can be pretty effective with it. I know how to use it, so my own preference is the Derp gun. But you should really try both before you decide. If this video was helpful and interesting, please give it a like so that more people see it in recommended and in search results. Or you can help me to share this video with your friends or clanmates. Thank you for watching, see you in the next videos guys, and goodbye.